Ms. Jerry Miller, thank you kindly for joining us on the Thursday edition of the I Love CVille Show. It's great to connect with you guys through the I Love CVille Network. A lot we're going to cover on the program, including, thank you very much, Judah, including Louisa County making some more economic development moves. Ladies and gentlemen, the Board of Supervisors in Louisa County, one of my buddies, Fitzgerald Barnes, a supervisor on the Louisa County Board. Fitzgerald Barnes was one of the first people more than 17 years ago who deeply encouraged me to launch a business and to pursue a company that I own, to pursue self-employment. Fitzgerald Barnes, Louisa County supervisor. At the time, he was the athletics director at Monticello High School. He is a friend, and I hope he hears what I'm saying right now. We got to get Fitz back on the program. Louisa County is making moves from an economic development standpoint that, frankly speaking, should have neighboring jurisdictions, and I'm talking Albemarle County, City of Charlottesville, and others, on their knees with jealousy. Another data center for Louisa County. And this data center, the second one of merit, takes a business park that Louisa owns, 697-acre Shannon Hill Regional Business Park, which Louisa purchased, ladies and gentlemen, for $2.6 million in the year 2018. Now they dumped $29.5 million into preparing the site into boosting utility service. So they're on the hook for what? $32 million and change, 33.1 million. They just sold it for $42 million to a Colorado company. And this Colorado company is going to build a data center in Louisa, the second one, right off Interstate 64. And Louisa, just like that, is driving tax revenue for its jurisdiction without pushing the infrastructure strain tied to incremental or new housing stock. We're going to talk about that on today's show. A hell of a deal for Louisa County. And this data center is not going to strain the water supply of Louisa County. We'll tell you how on today's broadcast. We're going to talk on today's show, ladies and gentlemen, about Glenn Youngkin. Man, is the governor floundering in his final few months in office? I mean, think about what's happened in the last few months. He fired Burt Ellis. He appointed Burt Ellis and fired him. The Burt Ellis replacement, Ken Cuccinelli, is maybe the most despised Republican in the Commonwealth in the eyes of Democrats. They are fighting tooth and nail to keep him from the Board of Visitors at UVA. Youngkin directly implicated with that sextortion scandal, the gay pictures scandal that wrapped the Republican Party, a Youngkin lieutenant, and put John Reed, the candidate for lieutenant governor, in their crossfire. Phony social media accounts, a he said, she said, sex pics, leverage, all tied to Youngkin. What is going on with this man that at one time appeared extremely presidential? And how does the Youngkin floundering impact the GOP ticket in what is a critically important election year in the Commonwealth of Virginia? We'll talk about that on today's show. We'll remind you, the viewer and listener, that tomorrow is the last day to enjoy Tubby's restaurant. We will talk on today's show about Luce Pasta, the pasta window on the downtown mall. Is this the Eatery of the future in Charlottesville? We're running out of iconic restaurants. I'm going to ask you, the viewer and listener, City of Charlottesville, what are the most iconic restaurants left? Obvious ones, the White Spot. Obvious ones, Riverside Grill. We've lost Little John's again. We've lost Blue Moon Diner. We've lost Mel's. We're losing Tubby's. Thank God Jack and Jill's open after a summer break. Most iconic restaurants left in the Charlottesville area. City specifically, what are they? There's a fantastic Facebook post that's circulating on another topic. Pictures from 1989 that showed the Blue Ridge Brewery on West Main Street. The first craft or micro brewery in the city of Charlottesville. We'll talk about that on the I Love CVille Show. So much to cover on the program. Before I get into headlines and the rundown, Judah, before we thank Charlottesville Business Brokers and Charlottesville Sanitary Supply for being partners of the show, I do want to highlight some deal flow that's on my desk right now. Our firm has a client in the home services category that has a established generational business with a significant fleet of branded trucks, an owner that is somewhat absentee, that is paying himself many times the median family household income, that is looking to retire. We're brokering this deal, representing the owner. If you are in the home services category professionally, looking to pursue the home services category professionally, it's a seller finance deal with reasonable terms, reasonable lease back terms as well on the headquarters. DM me, contact me, text me, email me, holler back, y'all. This deal is advantageous for someone that is an entrepreneur with a finance background or a home services background. It's a fantastic business to purchase. Judah Wickower, two-shot in studio camera. Where do we begin? Another data center in Louisa, J-Dubs. Louisa County making out like bandits with these data centers. Glenn Youngkin, I don't know if you agree or disagree with me, looks like he's floundering.
Yeah.
You got Tubby's the last day to enjoy the iconic restaurant that's been around for a couple of generations.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. And then a fire sale auction happens on Saturday where everything must go. Literally a fire sale. Mm-hmm. I'm going to ask you, the viewer and listener, the question, is Luce Pasta, the pasta window on the downtown mall, the restaurant of the future in Charlottesville, city specifically, and how you would characterize or rank the most iconic restaurants left in the city? Boy, oh boy, a lot to cover. Which headline most intrigues you and why?
I mean, I got to go with the Louisa data center. It's pretty interesting. I'm still unclear how they'll get around the electricity portion of it.
Well, they can't get around the electricity portion. It's a data center.
I know that.
They're getting around the water portion.
I know that, but we don't often hear about the effects of the increased strain on electricity.
Well, that's a fair question, especially with yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? The power surge that impacted cell phone towers, Verizon, cell phone providers. We had electricity, data, phone line issues with the city of Charlottesville, with Albemarle County, with jurisdictions locally. Dominion's power source in the western side of Albemarle County was down for much of Tuesday. Fair. But
then there's also the fact that throughout summers across the United States, temperatures put an amazing strain on infrastructure for electricity, and this is only going to push that closer to the brink a lot sooner. Anytime there are heat issues, not to mention just the fact that any electric company, Dominion included, are going to have to start figuring how they're going to account for the extra need for electricity. The more of these that pop up, the more that strain is going to show. And
probably the more they're going to charge their residential and commercial customers.
Yep.
The more we're leveraged with Dominion.
Which means that it's one thing to cheer Louisa making a great deal on some property, as well as bringing in incremental revenue from the data center, we also have to think about how that's going to affect things.
And maybe why you might want to, viewers and listeners, follow what Michael Bills is doing. He, of course, is the founder and chief investment officer at Bluestem Asset Management, LLC. He's a billionaire. He's also the founder of Clean Virginia, who's pushing very hard against the undue and harmful influence of Dominion Energy, which he calls a monopoly, which I see as certainly a monopoly. Their influence in politics across the Commonwealth, their leverage that they have over people like you and I, homeowners, property owners. In a lot of ways, leverage bleeds into extortion with what they're charging. Michael Bills and Clean Virginia is something to follow. Charlottesville Sanitary Supply, the great guys, the good guys in the business. 61 years in business, Charlottesville Sanitary Supply. John Vermillion and Andrew Vermillion. The Vermillion family is 4 generations in Albemarle County. And Charlottesville Sanitary Supply is a 3-generation run business. We were there yesterday talking to John and Andrew, and I was taken aback with how all walks of life in Albemarle and Charlottesville and Central Virginia come into Charlottesville Sanitary Supply. You have the wealthy, you have the upper class, you have the middle class, you have the working class, all in and out of Charlottesville Sanitary Supply. It's like a coffee shop for sanitary supply. And the Vermillion men servicing all these guys with a smile on their face. Charlottesville Sanitary Supply on East High Street and online at charlottesvillesanitarysupply.com. A lot we're going to cover. I mean, I think we should get into the topic. Why don't I set the who, what, when, where, why? Louisa County is selling 697 acres. I think you have 2 lower thirds you can rotate on screen. 697-acre business park, and that business park is called Shannon Hill Regional Business Park. It's right next to Interstate 64. Louisa County bought the business park in 2018 for $2.6 million. They then dumped a boatload of money into the business park. I mean, they dumped $29.5 million to prepare the business park for basically doing site work and to boost the utility service there.
Yeah. $17 million in debt and $13.6 million in grants.
In total, Louisa's in $2.6 million for the acquisition, $29.5 million for the site work, $32.1.
Yeah.
They just exited this position. And they found a company in Colorado, EdgeCore Digital Infrastructure, to buy the dirt from them for $42 million.
Yep.
Louisa has said with the delta, with the profits, they're going to use that to pay down debt, jurisdictional debt. This EdgeCore Digital Infrastructure company out of Colorado is the second company setting up a footprint in Louisa County. The first, you may have heard of it, Amazon. Amazon is investing billions of dollars into Louisa County. $11+ billion into Louisa County, Amazon is investing. This EdgeCore company from Colorado is using an interest, and I don't know much about data centers. I'm now learning about them. I do know that Emily Kilroy, the economic development executive from Albemarle County, joined us on the Friday edition of Real Talk with Keith Smith 2 Fridays ago, and it was very clear to me that data centers were front and center for Albemarle. So this is City of Charlottesville. I'm sorry, you're never going to have to worry about a data center. Albemarle County, you're the 6th largest county in the Commonwealth. You could consider data centers. I'm learning about data centers because they are everywhere. For instance, a lot of viewers and listeners don't know this. The data center epicenter of the entire world is Northern Virginia. Northern Virginia has more data centers than any place in the entire world.
Yeah, because of an inter-Atlantic cable that
under the ocean
stretches. It comes out right at Virginia Beach.
Louisa County, ladies and gentlemen, this partner, EdgeCore, is using a closed-looped air-cooled system rather than a water-based system. So this closed-looped air-cooled system should appease environmentalists who are first quick to point the water strain tied to data centers. Emily Kilroy of Albemarle County Economic Development basically said that a data center uses a big straw, like a drinking straw, plants that straw in the ground and tries to drink up all the water all around it. This scenario is not that case. Now, you still have the point that Judah made, the electricity strain. And that means we go more balls deep with Dominion Electric, the Commonwealth, with Louisa, all of us.
Yeah.
You also have the light pollution issue. These data centers, 24/7, 365, have significant lights on around the building. I mean, because they're massive buildings. The Shannon Hill project, however, and Louise is very quick to point this out, the Shannon Hill Regional Business Park, the 697 acres, Louisa, our friends over there are saying, Jerry, there's tremendous tree buffer around this business park. So that tree buffer should really dampen or basically provide sunglasses for Louisa County residents when it comes to this light pollution.
One would hope, yeah.
You would hope. The point we need to make with this story, though, is Louisa is driving economic development, tax revenue, perpetuity tax revenue, without the strain of incremental housing construction.
Yeah.
I'll say it again. Louisa driving economic development without straining its government resources by approving dense housing.
Without putting extra strain on traffic.
Schools,
Yeah.
kids in schools. Many people have said the two most advantageous counties to do business in Central Virginia are Louisa and Nelson County. The two most advantageous. This is a big, big, big story. Let us know your thoughts, viewers and listeners. Deep Throat, who's in Montana, in Bozeman, he says he woke up, it was 45 degrees Fahrenheit. It'll get about to 80 this afternoon. Deep Throat's about 102 degrees right now. The last 2 days I got in the car, was driving around, my in-car thermometer said 108.
Yeah.
He says the biggest fiscal winner in economic development is capital-intensive businesses. They pay a lot of taxes, assets are taxed, and they don't bring in many new employees. High capital labor ratio, who might, as householders, cost money to the jurisdiction. That's you see what he's saying? He's saying the biggest fiscal winner is economic development in Louisa County, because you have a capital-intensive business. They pay a lot of taxes. Assets are taxed.
Yeah.
And they don't bring in many new employees. Not many employees tied to the data centers. This is in a lot of, I'm starting to get swayed on the data center here, as you can see here. Louisa's got this dialed in and figured out. And you know who's going to benefit from the data center revenue in Louisa? It's going to be the schools. The top line item for every jurisdiction is schools. And Louisa, I've been here 25 years. When I first got here, Louisa schools were far from impressive. Now Louisa schools significantly improved. And do you remember during COVID and the pandemic, the first school system to reopen for in-person learning, public school-wise in Central Virginia, was Doug Straley, the superintendent of Louisa County Public Schools, and Louisa's, the first to open. I also think that you're seeing this migration pattern of upper class and middle class Albemarle County and upper class and middle class Charlottesville City being gentrified out of Charlottesville City or Albemarle County because of the cost of living, and or they're leaving Albemarle County or Charlottesville City because of the politics.
Yeah.
You saw a lot of conservative families that thought COVID was mishandled with their kids and in-person learning leave Albemarle County and Charlottesville City, which were late to reopen for in-person learning, and then move to Louisa because they knew the importance of getting their kids back in classrooms and learning in person with their peers. The Louisa County ideology, politically, certainly read conservative. So what you've seen over the 25 years of me being here is Albemarle County and Charlottesville City, very steep and very deeply rooted liberal and Democrat. Albemarle County and Charlottesville City, very expensive to live, cost of living even increasing even more.
Yeah.
Albemarle County, Charlottesville City, they absolutely mismanaged COVID and the return to in-classroom learning for students, which led to an outflux of families.
Yeah.
And as the population shifts in Albemarle County and Charlottesville City to more of a boomer or empty nester because they are the ones that can afford to live here, and as the school population in Albemarle County and Charlottesville City shifts more toward private school enrollment because the wealth is saturated here, you're seeing Albemarle County and Charlottesville City schools struggle or slip from a performance standpoint. And you're seeing outer county schools like Louisa, which are conservative, which open during COVID, which are more affordable to live, which are driving economic development and tax base tied to data centers, which creates trickle-over improvement for the schools because the money is on hand. Mm-hmm. You're seeing Louisa being way more appealing for a group of families, which is raising the academic standards and SOLs and KPIs for this particular school system. It's fascinating what has happened here over 25 years. 25 years ago when I first arrived here, Louisa schools, reputation terrible. Albemarle County schools, reputation phenomenal. Now that delta between Louisa and Albemarle County Public Schools is way more narrow. The handling of COVID, the cost of living, the politics, maybe you throw in some of the crime, has done a population shift, strengthening Louisa's educational base along with the economic development, the pro-business. Albemarle County, in a lot of ways, the opposite. Damn, what a story, viewers and listeners. Mm-hmm. Judah Wickower, thoughts, put them in the feed. I will relay them live on air. Jason Noble, Conan Owen, welcome to the broadcast. Conan Owen, the owner of the local Sir Speedy Charlottesville. You're going to start seeing more of Conan and Sir Speedy on the I Love CVille show, guys, in the next handful of days. And we're going to be highlighting what Conan is doing at Sir Speedy and the fact that this guy is an extremely connected businessman because he's doing a lot of the signage and branding work for these businesses, these real estate projects. He's going to start coming on the program as a business insider for the I Love CVille show. Judah Wickower, comments from you, and then I'll go John Blair next. And wow, a hell of a lot of comments right here in the feed. Judah, any thoughts on this?
I'm excited to see where Louisa goes with this, but I'm still leery about data centers. I feel like we may not understand the full effects for some time yet, and once they're in, I bet it's going to be very hard to get rid of them.
Comments coming in. John Blair's photo on screen. He says this, Jerry, it is amazing how much money Michael Bills is about to see lit on fire. Michael Bills is also Sonia Smith's husband. Mm-hmm. These are the two biggest kingmakers, Sonia Smith and Michael Bills, in the Commonwealth. Those are my words. I'll get back to John Blair's comments. It is amazing how much money Michael Bills is about to see lit on fire. The truth is this. Data centers are being developed due to increased reliance on AI.
Yeah.
If the one big beautiful bill is enacted, it contains a ban on states regulating AI. The Trump administration has no interest in regulating AI. Therefore, AI is going to organically grow very quickly. That means more data centers. More data centers is going to require massive additional amounts of energy. Judah's point. Renewables cannot meet the load requirements for data centers. Scott Sorvel and Don Scott, both Democrats, are both saying that the Virginia Clean Economy Act is going to have to be amended because renewables cannot meet the data center demand. Dominion will be a big winner. Bills and Sonia Smith, well, what's the old saying about a fool and their money? John Blair also adds, I'll add that while Bills and Smith may not be fools on this issue, it's painfully obvious that their pet project, the Clean Economy Act, is unrealistic with the AI data center boom. I'll add some color to what John Blair is saying. And of course, John is always on point with his commentary. That's why he's number 2 in the family. Mark Benioff, the CEO of Salesforce, a story on CNBC today. Artificial intelligence is doing 30 to 50% of the work at Salesforce, Benioff said today. I'll add a little bit more color. The top holding in my portfolio is
NVIDIA.
NVIDIA hit an all-time high yesterday and then surpassed that all-time high right now in this morning. NVIDIA unimpacted as of this point by tariffs, geopolitical turmoil with China, tariff beef with China, at an all-time high, the most valuable top market capitalization in any company out there, NVIDIA right now. AMD, has anyone seen what AMD has done over the last 90 to 100 days? Another key holding in my portfolio. AMD over the last 90 days, 120 days, has gone from way in the red to way in the green. Louisa County, ladies and gentlemen. Jason Noble says this, his photo on screen. I'm sure these data centers will be at least supplementing with solar all over their buildings. Jason Noble, pushing back on your point a little bit, or offering a little perspective on your point.
They could.
Deep Throat, to Judah's point on power, in the EPJM interconnect, there is nothing that prevents business from generating their own electricity. Perhaps one day the data center park will have its own small modular nuclear reactor.
That would be something.
I'm currently with the Miller organization, early stages of consultation with an entrepreneur that is pursuing a unique business model. And his business model, solar farms. Creative, crafty, intelligent, super smart guy. Sharp as a number 2 pencil type of guy. Financing is what we may be helping him with. Solar farms. Literally farms of solar panels.
Yeah, we've seen those come up in conversations, and some districts have poo-pooed them.
You have to navigate the politics, the finance, but they're willing land sellers. Or another way you can structure it is some kind of lease back. Or another way you can structure it is some kind of joint venture on profit sharing. You saw this with the oil business. The landmen that would go to various land owners and say, look, let's structure some deal where you allow us to drill and you get points on the package or points of the upside. You're seeing that now with solar. The deck that was pitched to me the other day was absolutely fascinating. So much to this story before we go to the next topic. The easy parts of the story that are elementary from a reporting standpoint are this. Here are the easy parts to the story that elementary reporters are reporting. They're saying Colorado company EdgeCore Digital Infrastructure paid $42 million for 697 acres. That was a business park named Shannon Hill Regional Business Park in Louisa County. The elementary reporting is saying Louisa bought this business park for $2.6 million. They invested $29.5 million into getting the business park ready from a site work and utility standpoint. So Louisa was on the hook at $32.1 million. The elementary reporting says Louisa sold it for $42 million, and the elementary reporting says a Colorado data center company is opening the second data center brand or footprint in Louisa, the first being Amazon. That's the who, what, when, where, why, the basic reporting.
Yeah.
The meat and potatoes of this story is this, and this is why you watch the I Love CVille show, I think, because it's long-form content. It's the economic development piece for Louisa. As Deep Throat says, this is not labor-intensive, so you don't need the housing to be built to accommodate the workforce. Mm-hmm. As Deep Throat highlights on this program, this is an economic development winner for Louisa County because they have a lot of assets which are taxed.
Yeah.
They're going to be paying these taxes in perpetuity once the data center is set up. The meat and potatoes, the real true aspect of this story is Louisa's finding a huge driver of taxes for its county, which is going to further strengthen the public school system. Public schools, the number one line item for every jurisdiction.
Yeah.
The meat and potatoes, the true story of this is Louisa being extremely pro-business, Louisa not needing housing to drive economic development or population uptick, which means quality of life and green space for current residents in Louisa, no traffic, no environmental concerns, less environmental concerns, yes, some with the data center. The real story here is what Louisa has done in the last 5 or 6 years since COVID, when they were the first to open the public schools, Albemarle County and the city of Charlottesville, the last in Central Virginia, the conservative nature of Louisa politics, the liberal nature of Albemarle and Charlottesville city politics, and how you're seeing an influx of the middle class from Albemarle and Charlottesville to Louisa. Spring Creek. Has anyone seen the Spring Creek neighborhood across from Lowe's, across from Walmart? A gated golf course community, rich in amenities, $600,000 starting point for a house, $2 million the ceiling for a house in Louisa County on 64, 18 minutes from the downtown mall. Closer to Richmond. Bullish, Louisa, wowzers.
Yeah.
Next headline, Judah Wickhauer. What do you got?
Is Governor Youngkin floundering?
Oh, we got to get to that story. And Jason Noble says, solar has come a long way. You could easily power your house now for less than $10,000, including battery backup. Janice Boyce Trevelyan says, we are a farming community in Louisa and want to stay that way. No solar on the Amazon project. And those solar farms are all over Louisa as well. They kill farms as well.
Yeah. Take up a lot of land.
Vanessa Parkhill said, Albemarle used to trend red when I moved here in 1990. Now it's as blue gets.
Yeah.
All right, you want to set the stage for Youngkin? It's the last year is what we remember of Youngkin.
Yeah.
It's not how he managed COVID. It's not how he took the Commonwealth out of COVID and created a pro-business Commonwealth. And he's done a great job creating a business ecosystem in the Commonwealth. It's the last year we remember. And correct me if I'm wrong, what we remember from Louisa, correct me if I'm wrong, what we remember of Youngkin, is the Burt Ellis fiasco.
Yeah. The John Reed fiasco.
What remember of Youngkin is what? The Ken Cuccinelli fiasco. What we remember of Youngkin is the lieutenant governor candidate Reed. And the fact that Youngkin's lieutenant, the guy that is most attributed to getting Youngkin elected, was directly linked or implicated with creating fake social media accounts, with sextorting Lieutenant Governor candidate Reed with gay pictures, fake social media accounts, and threats to get him to drop out of a race.
Politics as usual.
What's going on with the governor here?
Yeah.
He goes from presidential to being...
I never saw him as presidential, but...
I know you didn't. A lot of people did, though. What's going on with your boy?
My boy. My boy is maybe showing his true colors. Less of a grip than he thought he had, and making some missteps that his opponents will certainly capitalize on.
Here's the question I have. With how Youngkin is floundering right now, Ken Cuccinelli, Board of Visitors, Burt Ellis, Lieutenant Governor candidate Reed, what is the impact of Youngkin's floundering going to do for the GOP ticket this election cycle? The GOP ticket has got as much competition as it's had in a little while. You have the Trump effect in Northern Virginia, where he's devastated a lot of the economy.
Yeah.
You have a Democratic ticket that looks pretty damn strong right now. What's the impact of Youngkin floundering going to have come November? Is the prediction clean sweep? And how significant of the sweep? I mean, does it go beyond governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general? How many delegates does it include? How many other races get caught up in this sweep? At a time where Youngkin should be offering an image of confidence,
Strength.
an image of strength, an image of look at what I've executed, look at how I finished this term. He's instead offering an image of weakness, an image of splintering his good-looking and presidential facade. And it's the last year that people remember. The Cuccinelli thing is getting embarrassing.
No doubt.
Why Cuccinelli?
Yeah. Why replace someone with someone just as
Polarizing.
yeah.
Maybe more so. Like, can anyone understand the politics of firing a man you replace, firing a man that you hired, and Burt Ellis from the Board of Visitors, midterm? We're not even sure if that's ever been done before.
Yeah.
And replacing him with someone that's more polarizing at a time where the GOP appears weak, at a time where the Democrats have a top of the ticket that is super strong. I just don't get the politics here.
Yeah. It's very curious.
Next headline, Judah Wickhauer.
Next up, Tubby's.
I mean, this is just a sad story.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's the last day if you want to try Tubby's. Literally the last day Tubby's restaurant in Delhi, which has been open since 1982. I mean, this restaurant's been open, Judah, for generations.
Yeah. It's a shame it's not going to a new owner.
43 years it's been open. And tomorrow's the last day you can try Tubby's on High Street. On Saturday, an auctioneer goes into Tubby's and is legitimately doing a fire sale. A fire sale where everything in the restaurant must be sold for any price, the highest price possible. Our community in the last 12 months has lost more iconic restaurants than at any time I can remember. Rattle them off.
Oh. Obviously, Tubby's, Blue Moon Diner, Moose's by the Creek, Little John's, Potbelly, we've got
Lumpkin's
Chicken. Oh,
I mean,
Mel's
Cafe,
Fox's not too long ago as well.
Tubby's,
Another diner. Yeah, we've lost a lot. And for various reasons. I mean, it's not like we can say that they were all, knocked down by the economy. Tubby's, case in point. It's a shame the owner didn't try to sell the place, or maybe didn't have any luck. But it was just retirement.
I've heard different things, and I'm not one to rain on a thunderstorm. I've heard different things. I'll leave it at that. The time to sell your business is not at the time that you want to retire. The time to sell your business is when your business is doing really well.
No doubt.
A lot of people do it the wrong way. We've been selling a lot of these now. You sell your business when your business is doing well, not when it's time to sell it. The Tubby story is a sad story. It's another hit on a blue-collar business that caters to working-class, blue-collar customers, customers of all walks of life closing.
Yeah.
It's another arrow in the quiver of you have to be a big box brand or a corporately owned restaurant to survive in this market, as Judah made the argument yesterday when he referenced Shake Shack and the Chicken Salad Chick, 2 new restaurants opening in Stonefield.
Mm-hmm.
You wonder how long that place is going to sit vacant. You wonder how long, or the impact it has to other restaurants around there. It's a sad story. And it leaves us with the question, as you put the lower third on screen, what are your iconic restaurants left in Charlottesville? I mean, Riverside's iconic.
Yep, no doubt.
The White Spot's iconic.
Oh, yeah. C&O.
C&O and Hamilton's are iconic.
Yeah.
What are your iconic restaurants left?
We've got a few.
Rattle them off.
And
you know that iconic restaurants closing list that we did? You did not archive it in food and drink on the menu bar here. Because we did a list, and I can't find it by tapping food and drink on the menu bar.
Did it have iconic in the title?
You're saying use the search function on I Love CVille?
No, I'm just asking you.
Because I'm looking to find it on the food and drink portion of I Love CVille, and I don't see it. Do you have it?
I need a name. I need a title.
You wrote it.
Okay. Explain what
the iconic restaurants that have closed.
Okay.
It's your story. I mean, what are the 5 that are left? Viewers and listeners. Riverside. Right? White Spot. C&O. Do you put Hamilton's on that list?
Iconic businesses? Yeah.
Do you have the list of closed ones?
Yeah.
What's the title called? Or the URL?
Let's see. URL is /closed.
ilovecville.com/closed?
Yeah.
ilovecville.com/closed. Blue Moon Diner, 1. Moose's by the Creek, Eljo's Traditional Clothes, Reed's Grocery, Guadalajara, Mel's Cafe, Lumpkin's, Little John's, 10,000 Villages, End Zone Pizza, Belmont Pizza, Tubby's. Your byline on there. Can we categorize that by food and drink?
Yeah, I've added it.
You added it?
Mm-hmm.
And did you add it to the business category too?
That's what it was already under.
Okay. What are the ones that are iconic that are left? Georgia Gilmer, Wayside.
Wayside, yeah.
Good call. Dirty Nellies. Mm-hmm. Good call, Georgia Gilmer. Rob Neal, Virginian, 100%. The second oldest restaurant. I'll put Timberlake's on there. I mean, this should be the next list you put together. Rob Neal also says Miller's, Continental Divide, Villa, Vita Nova.
Vivace.
Vivace, is that? Vivace's Albemarle County. That's not CVille City.
No.
I mean, if you wanted to do the most iconic restaurants left, you would go Timberlake's 1 because it's the oldest. The Virginian 2 because it's the second oldest. Probably in the 3 spot you would do Riverside or White Spot. I'll go the White Spot in the 3 spot because it's the oldest, the third oldest. I'll go Riverside in the 4th spot. Probably go C&O in the 5th spot. What do you do? Dirty Nellies next. Go what? Wayside after that. Hamilton's after that. First and Main. Billy Hamilton and Kate Hamilton's. I mean, you still got a lot of them left. Miller's is iconic. Dave Matthews helps make it iconic, but Miller's is iconic just for Miller's. Continental Divide is a great call. You still got them, but goodness gracious. In the last year, the Nook, thank you, from Ball and Romer, the Nook, good call. But in the last year, I want you to realize that we're keeping track of this. It's an active list. In the last 12 months, Blue Moon Diner, Moose's by the Creek, El Joe's, Reed's, Guadalajara Restaurant, Mel's Cafe, Guadalajara Fontaine, Mel's Cafe, Lumpkin's, Little John's, 10,000 Villages, End Zone Pizza, Belmont Pizza, and Tubby's in the last 12 months. And then it leads us to ask this question in our pre-production meeting. If you were creating a restaurant, is Aberdeen Barn, Vanessa Parkhill in the city of Charlottesville? I think that's Albemarle County. Is Aberdeen Barn, city of Charlottesville, or Albemarle County? Judy, do you know? I'm pretty sure that's Albemarle County.
Probably is.
IVN is Albemarle County. Barbara Becker Tilley says this: take a look at the price point for the restaurant's loss. Tells you all you need to know. Iconic ones like Dooner's, IVN, Hamilton, Zocalo, they remain. She's basically saying, and she's right, and other folks have made this point. Rob has made this point before. The restaurants that we are losing, I've made this point before. Deep Throat's made this point before. This is not rocket science. The restaurants that we are losing are restaurants tied to a price point of less than $20 a head. In some cases, less than $15 per person. We are losing restaurants that cater to all walks of life, but certainly cater to working class and blue collar. And as we are seeing working class and blue collar push to Waynesboro, we just talked about Louisa to start the program, to Fluvanna, to the outer counties. The businesses that cater to this clientele in Albemarle and Charlottesville and the urban ring are closing. That's why we ask this question. We asked this question in our pre-production meeting. The Luce Pasta window, a restaurant run by 2 people, where someone makes pasta and another person is taking your orders and helping expo the food, is that the restaurant of the future in the city of Charlottesville or Albemarle County? Is a takeout window the restaurant of the future?
I really don't think it is, but
Okay, then I'll ask you this question. If you discount, if you do not include fine dining,
yeah.
if you're not including fine dining, what is the restaurant of the future for Charlottesville City and Albemarle County?
Not including fine dining.
If you wanted to create a business model that was $20 and under a head, your restaurant concept would have to be Chinese takeout, pizza takeout,
yeah.
or a takeout window.
Mexican.
Prove me wrong, viewers and listeners. And that right there is the cause and effect of so much in this community. And it will only worsen with a 5,000 to 8,000 person population uptick in the next 24 to 36 months.
Yeah.
Rob says the barn is in the city. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. I trust his judgment on that. Aberdeen Barn is in the city. Ivy Inn and Vivace, the county, though. Georgia says Wayside 50 plus years. Unbelievable. If you haven't tried Luce pasta, you should try it. It's very, very good. Have you tried it? You should try it. It's affordable too. You'll have leftovers. Next headline. What do you got, Wickower?
Oh, let's see. 1989. We've got some historic pics.
Okay, this Facebook post is circulating on social media. Look at how cool this is. Do you have the pictures on screen?
Just about.
I saw this and I was like, oh, this is the coolest thing. This is like a happy story.
Here we go.
Blue Ridge Brewery, the first brewery in Charlottesville City. It's not open anymore. These pictures are from 1989. This is not Blue Mountain Brewery, guys. This is the first brewery in Charlottesville history. Blue Ridge Brewery. This brewery, as he's rotating the photos on screen, on West Main Street. This brewery, Judah, was where Star Hill Brewery was launched. Star Hill Brewery, let's see, I always confuse this. I'm pretty sure it's South Street Brewery is the oldest brewery in Charlottesville. Okay, you ready for this, Judah? South Street Brewery, 1998 opening for South Street. Write down 98. Star Hill Brewery. When did it open? September 99 for Star Hill. So South Street is your oldest brewery. 1998 for South Street Brewery, the oldest and still running brewery in Central Virginia. South Street at 1998. There's a great trivia question for your cocktail party this weekend. Star Hill opened in September of 1999. South Street opened in 1998. Star Hill in September of 1999. So South Street is your oldest. The photos Judah is showing on screen are, ladies and gentlemen, from 1989. These photos that he's showing on screen for Blue Ridge Brewery are 10 years before South Street even opened. Rotate those photos. On West Main Street, where Star Hill eventually opened. That is bananas. This brewery was the textbook first to market or before their time. There are so many examples in history of first to market gets slaughtered. Evergreen with what it did at 303 Alderman Road. First to market slaughtered. Friendster and MySpace, first to market slaughtered. Blue Ridge Brewery, before their time. Unbelievable. I love these history stuff, though. Charlie Papazion. Credit to Charlie Papazion for creating this Facebook post that got me really thinking. All right, Judah, what else you got? Any other headlines, or are we out of here?
Oh, let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I'll close with this. If you're looking for executive office space in any capacity, Route 29, downtown, midtown, anywhere in Central Virginia, really, let us know. Executive office space from $350 a month to $975 a month. We have some even higher, but that's really kind of the window that you're looking for executive office space. If co-working is not for you, we have so much executive office space, ladies and gentlemen, from $350 to $975 a month. 1-year leases, security deposit equivalent to first month's rent, and just about all cases, utilities are covered. Send me a DM, call me, text me, holler at me. We'll get you into some executive office space. I just found some space for a fantastic businesswoman out of Blacksburg that's looking to hang a shingle here in Charlottesville, and we got her on a fantastic executive office space for $595 a month. She even bought the furniture of the outgoing tenant. Literally got that lease signed today. And I'll close with this as well. I'm looking for a buyer for a business in the home services category. This business has fantastic top-line revenue. It's an absentee owner at this point looking to retire, and a business that is nearly 20 years of successful service locally. Non-disclosure agreement's going to be required, proof of funds required before I get you financials, seller finance deal opportunity, 10-year balloon, 10-year amortization schedule, fixed interest rate, down payment for about 30% of acquisition price. Let me know if this appeals to you. I can get you some more details. We will vet you before we get you those details, though. Judah Wickhauer, Jerry Miller, the I Love CVille Show, where we're just trying to be the water cooler of conversation. That's all we're trying to do. Friday, our last day of the week. So long, everybody. Tomorrow, Friday, our last day of the week. So long, everybody.